this?
They were there. We were looking at this, and then listening to the doctor. He said, "Please take some of these out to the hospital ship." I said, "Do something, do something." To Chief Steve O'Neill's credit, he says, "No." He said, "I'm not going to do that." He said, "In the first place, we could only take a dozen men. There were like 10 of us on this small barge, and you put 10 on there, what we do? We're going to find a hospital ship and it's slow." That wasn't the answer, but he had the answer. So he told one of the Seabees there was supposed to be a signalman. He pointed to the Augusta, signal that ship, This guy's, he says, "Give me that." Steve O'Neill, I know how to signal. And he raised the Augusta, the signalman on the Augusta. And in effect, and the Augusta came back. The other signalman was reading the return signal. And it said, "We have you, but slow down.
Yeah.
You're going too fast." Steve O'Neill was so good at that. So in effect, he said, "Many wounded right here on beach, need help, no medical attention, need help immediately, evacuation to hospitals." He gave them the whole story. So then they clicked the end of the message, then the message came back. Continue short signals so we can hold your position. Click, we're here. They're just vague. So Steve was clicking. And the message came back that help was on the way. And it was a real sense of pride that here come small boats, first couple, then 3, 4, and so on like that. So, in effect, he said to the doctor, he said, "There's your help." And the doctor, "Oh, thank you." There was a great relief. Steve had just calmly and coolly used his head, got real help, from the top,
Yeah.
He might have been getting it from General Bradley of all he knew,
Yeah.
But
what generals were out there on the boat?
General Bradley was out there. He was going to call off the invasion like at noontime or something like that. He was so worried. And but it was remarkable. And men said it not only in this beach but other beaches like in Italy. And me and Sicily, doesn't seem to be any communication. In these days of TV and communication, or in the movies, you said they'd broadcast here and there. Well, the word got around, but always the beach seemed to be a blank, And imagine dozens of wounded men there and
nobody there. Yeah.
Nobody there. All I knew that they were going up the hill and they were probably talking to the forward units.
So there were new men coming on the beach this whole time, and people shooting and.
No, there was no shooting at all. There was no shells landing, nothing. Now this was.
Or did you come up on the beach a little after the initial wave or something?
Oh, sure, we came up in the afternoon. Most of this, the bloody business was in the morning.
Yeah.
And about noontime they got to the top of the hill, and a couple hours later they pushed rapidly inland. How far? I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been a couple of 100 yards, could have been further. But people say, "Well, I landed on Omaha on D-Day." Well, I did too. But no bullets whistled by my head. But at least I was there.
Yeah.
And other fellows you hear in the past, "Well, I hit D-Day, I hit Omaha D+2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, fella, if you did, you probably saw me sunning myself between stints out in the pontoon, something like that. But that was it. That was the whole thing. And then we went back to where the pontoons were gathered. And the word comes through that we had lost the tide.
Yeah.
Because the first pontoons had to go to the highest tide and the causeway proceed out from there. So, and the tide was something. So Steve signaled that we're coming back. Oh, we'll be here. And the signals were back. So Steve was pretty cute. Pulled up beside a merchant ship, who was anchored out there, waiting to be unloaded. And, Navy transport, because it was a Navy ship. Oh, they pulled us aboard like we were fighting on the beach, like veterans and so on, like that. Come on. Sat us right down. fed us like kings. I had a cot for the night, which was luxury, huh?
Yeah.
And then Steve left orders to feed us at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and bacon and eggs and so on. We came down, we felt like $1 million, and then life went on. But that was it, Omaha Beach D-Day.
D-Day.
I would call it anti-climactic for us, but it wasn't for those.
First time I've ever heard you tell the D-Day story.
But you would, the ferocity of it. I talked to a fellow that worked in Gray's registration. I said, I couldn't understand with all those killed and wounded on the beach, how the beach wasn't littered with bodies. They were there from the first, and they started to dig immediately and put them away. And those bodies that washed up within the next week or so, a bunch every day, they tell them they come right down and pick up the remains and put them in a.
How many died there?
I think a couple of thousand on that beach alone. I think they said they lost 1,000 men in 45 minutes. I think the Americans between the two beaches lost 6,000 men, and Utah was relatively lenient as far as the beach. So maybe
There were 3 beachheads?
2 American beachheads, 2 American, 2 British, and 1 Canadian.
What were they called?
Get out of here.
There was Utah, Omaha for American, Sword, Juneau, and Gold.
No.
I just heard of the American ones.
And I think 2 or 3 weeks before D-Day. Okay?
So what was the result of this? They won the beach, went into France, then what?
Well, we put down...
Quick ending.
No, we put down our 2 pontoons,
Yeah.
2 strings, one down the other. And then the signal came, and the troops started to land, just pulled up like traffic, like subway cars. And we reached down, we got these, and they were seasick in the boats, pulled them up, and they marched down the beach. We got down to the end of the thing, and there's a sign there. It says, "You are arriving in France with dry feet, compliments of the 1006 CB detachment." The Army made them take it down a couple
So
of days.
what was the significance of this battle in World War II?
Well, if you're old enough, you know that it was the invasion of Europe, you know.
And then what happened, though? How long did that take to the end of the European War?
I think May of the following year.
But that was the beginning of the end
Yeah. And
for the Germans.
let me see, about a month or so later, I was calling up your mother asking her for a date.
In
Right,
Boston?
Yeah. Hey!
What
Well,
you doing?
we'll stop here because the dog is chewing things. So that's the
You don't
D-Day story
touch
from
that.
John Bowen. Go ahead.